This is the thin, hollow and echoey sounds of your built-in camera's microphone. Now you're listening to the Rode VideoMicro 2, which is considered to be the budget standard. This is the new Saramonic SG-MS1 shotgun microphone running in Cardioid polar pattern mode. And this is a premium, pro-tier broadcast standard microphone, the Rode NTG5. Welcome back folks, my name's Shane. In today's video we're checking out the Saramonic SG-MS1 mid-side stereo condenser microphone kit. Now this kit gives you everything you need to get going. At the time of making this video it comes in at 508 Australian dollars or 350 US dollars. Now we're going to compare this obviously against other microphones, but I've lined up a few samples so you can get a good sense of what this can do. It can do three main modes. Cardioid, which picks up sound from the front and rejects sound from the sides and rear. Stereo mode, true stereo mode, which allows you to capture soundscapes beautifully. And a figure 8 polar pattern, which will pick up sound from either side of the microphone while rejecting it from the front and rear. Let's have a listen. One of the things I really appreciate about Saramonic is they're the only brand that I know of, at least that I've tested, that come with a hard case like this. It's unbelievable value considering it's padded on the inside with foam and it has slots for absolutely everything. The Saramonic SG-MS1 comes with this funky little shock mount, and this allows you to use it directly on your camera. And there's also an additional accessory that you can mount to the bottom of the shock mount to use this as an overhead, or if you plan on using it handheld, you've got yourself a little handle. One quick heads up on the shock mount though, while it slides smoothly onto my Sony hot shoes, it doesn't fit any of my Lumix camera bodies, including the S5 Mark II, X, S9, GH7 or G9 Mark II. It's just slightly too wide for Panasonic hot shoes. I've emailed Saramonic to pass this feedback along, but if you shoot Lumix, you'll want to choose a separate cold shoe adapter. This is a full range microphone offering 20 Hz to 20 kHz, but if you do need a little bit of low end reduction, there's a high pass filter switch directly on the front. Now, this has its own battery inside that's rechargeable, and this will give you up to 5 hours of battery life, and there's a USB-C port over here. To change modes on the microphone, all you need to do is move this around. We've got our Cardioid polar pattern, our stereo polar pattern, and our figure 8 all the way to the other side. If you're unfamiliar with the different polar patterns, Cardioid mode is best suited for these type of situations, whether you're addressing the camera or it's pointed towards you in a vlogging scenario. So just keep it all the way to the left. Stereo mode's great for examples where stereo mode is important, like recording a band from a room perspective, or if you're outside and you want to capture some atmosphere. It's beautiful. The figure 8 polar pattern's an interesting one. I would say this is good if you're doing an interview with someone and you want to capture audio from both sides of the microphone while rejecting it on the front and back. It's an interesting polar pattern choice for a microphone like this. Again, it was something I wasn't expecting. Unlike the rest of the shotgun microphones on my desk, you can run this in a number of different ways. First up, we get an XLR to stereo XLR cable right here. So this allows you to hook it up to an XLR adapter on your camera, or of course any sort of recorder that gives you that option. So if it's a Zoom recorder, you can hook it up via XLR, which is awesome. Secondly, there's a 3.5mm audio output on here, and it comes with both a TRS to TRS cable, which is your standard headphone socket, or a TRRS to TRS, which will go into a phone if you've still got one that supports that particular connector. Thirdly, we get a USB-C cable to USB-C and a USB-C to Lightning adapter, which is great. I'm rocking an old iPhone and it's great to see they've included both of these cables in the box. I've just hooked the microphone up to the app using the Saramonic system app, and I'm in left-right mode, as you can see. Now, if I bring this slider down, it's going to change the directionality of what it picks up. So this is going to be much more narrow, and I can bring it all the way anywhere up to 140 degrees, which is going to give us a wider soundscape. And that's everything that you've heard on the video so far. If we go into MS mode here, you can see that this particular mode is still stereo, but it's also going to pick up sound from the front more so than just the left and right mode, which is more like an X and Y axis. So imagine two physical microphones touching like this. It's going to pick up a good spread of sound. The MS option works in a different way. You're going to get a more prominent sound from the front, but also now sound from the left and right. If I go back into cardioid mode, for example, you can see that I can bring the gain down. So if I don't want the microphone quite as hot, it's nice and easy to set up, which is awesome. If you're wondering, yes, you can record directly to your mobile phone. Included in the hard case, we get a standard pop filter. Let's put it on. And this is with the pop filter on. Now, I'm in a studio, so I don't really need it on, but if I was talking directly into the capsule, this is where that would definitely help some of those plosives. We get a professional Deadcat or wind filter here, which helps you reject wind noise when shooting outside. Now let's do a quick vlogging test with the microphone in cardioid polar pattern mode, which is what you want if you're going to be doing any sort of talk to camera stuff like this. What you want to be listening for is any footstep noise, any loud thuds or anything like that that come through the shock mount, because that could be a problem, or if the wind is making the audio noisy. Now I've turned the high pass filter on, so we'll see if this affects the audio negatively or positively, and I'll comment on this later, but this is the same type of walking. I'm not doing anything in particular, just walking as per normal here with the camera, and we'll see whether or not the audio is any good. Man, the wind just kicked right up, so yeah, let us know how it's doing. And now you're listening to the audio quality of the built-in microphone system on my Sony ZV-E1. And back to the Saramonic microphone. Let us know if you can hear a huge difference. Now this wind filter did a pretty solid job outside in my tests, except for when the wind was hitting the back of the microphone. So even in cardioid mode, if the wind's coming from the back side of the microphone, that's where you'll still hear a bit of wind noise, but it definitely helps reduce it, and any further noise reduction can be done in something like Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve. Let's do a quick professional shotgun microphone comparison now between a few different ones. So we're going to start on the new Saramonic SG-MS1. Now you're listening to the Saramonic T3 shotgun microphone. This is easily one of my favorite shotgun mics. I've got two of these for a reason. They work beautifully. Let's switch it up. Let's try a couple of Rode microphones as a point of comparison. You're now listening to the Rode NT-G1. I purchased two of these like 10 years or so ago, and they're still going strong. They are a little bit on the bright sounding side, but it'll be interesting to see, or hear rather, how this compares up against the prior. Now let's switch it over to this guy. And now the most expensive shotgun mic I have, this is the Rode NT-G5. I love this microphone. Again, it suits my voice, and it'll be interesting to hear your thoughts on how it compares up against the rest, and of course the SG-MS1. Let's wrap this up. I'm gonna give you some final thoughts, some pros and cons, all that kind of stuff. So the Saramonic SG-MS1 is a really powerful microphone. If you're looking to record in stereo, it's an absolute no-brainer, and this is the feature that none of the other microphones I've showcased in this video can do. So if you're looking to record bands or do some ambient recordings and all that kind of stuff, it wipes the floor with the rest of them. The stereo spread on this is beautiful, and it really does sound legit. So if you're doing any short films and you want to actually capture some sounds in the field, this would make for a really great choice. I only really have two minor nitpicks with this microphone. The selector between choosing your pickup patterns is too easy to move accidentally. So if you're moving your stuff around all the time, you just want to make sure you're on the right mode, because you can bump it into the wrong mode or out of the mode you're in quite easily. And secondly, I would have loved to have seen this microphone come with 32-bit internal recording. It would have made it perfect. But that said, if you're looking for a great stereo microphone that doesn't break the bank, that gives you excellent audio quality, I would highly recommend this. I think there's better value shotgun microphones than this, but being that you can use it as a shotgun microphone, you can use it as an on-camera microphone, you can record bands and do a whole bunch of stuff that a conventional shotgun microphone like all of these can't do, then this is where this really shines. Thanks for watching. Let us know if you have any comments or questions, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.